Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we're looking at Gene Roddenberry's Lost Universe issue 7. Script by Ron Fortier, pencils by Mike Harris, inks by Aaron McClellan, computer coloring by Aungyi Maung, Brian Wong, and Mada Design Inc. Ken Bruzenak was the letterer. Bill Sienkiewicz did the cover art, which I like the cover, it's a cool concept. James Chambers was the editor. This is the final issue of this series, and we find the Deliverance cruising along. It looks like they're going to land in the atmosphere when suddenly they experience a magnetic fluctuation of some sort that seems to be pulling them in, and they lose all power. Well, that means that one of the members of engineering has to go into a duct to get to some controls and restart the systems manually, and they only have a handful of systems that can be used. And we learn a little bit about a theory as to what happened with the asteroid that was going to hit the planet originally, and it looks like Plan Nat back on Earth has a few ideas of their own and a mysterious person. This issue very clearly leads into Xander and Lost Universe issue 1, which we'll be looking at in the future. But for a final issue, it's kind of a weird one because it doesn't really even feature some of the main characters. So I'm not sure if this was intended to be a final issue because it doesn't seem like it. It looks more like Xander and the Lost Universe actually was intended to be issue 8 instead of an issue 0, and the story seems to continue on. So we'll look at that more closely, but this was a fun read. It was a really interesting thing to see the crew members actually being a little more involved. They weren't very well explored beforehand, and now we get to see them working and doing stuff and trying to save the ship. And it was a pretty cool sequence. It had a very Star Trek feel to it, and I thought it was a fun issue. It kind of doesn't fit with what was going on previously in issue 6, but it's a good solo story you could enjoy by itself. The last couple pages are the only things that aren't going to make any sense because it's leading into the next story arc, but overall it was a fun issue. It's a good quarter bin find easily. If you find it for $1 or less, I'd say pick it up. You can enjoy the space adventure of them trying to save the ship. I thought that was cool. It had a lot of really Trek feel to it, good sci-fi stuff. It was fun. Is it going to be completely memorable? No. Is it going to be a classic? No. Is it worth cover price? No. It wasn't back then either. $2 was real steep for this book back in 95. And nowadays, if you find it for cover price, it's probably a little overpriced. But if you can find it for $1 or less or something equivalent, I would say pick it up out of a discount bin, but it's really not going to be anything mind-blowing, but it was fun. I didn't hate it or anything. The art was good. Story was solid. It was just a space adventure scenario, so worth checking out if you can find it cheap. That'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel in other ways, links to my Patreon, Streamlabs, and Teespring store are in the description. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one.